Good morning. Welcome to class 2. And today we're going to pick up where we left off. And we're going to finish up lesson 1, which was on introduction to marketing. And we're going to look at the fundamental difference between traditional marketing and digital marketing. So I was asking how many of you recognize the face on the screen? And I know some of you said Dr. Coombs, right? Dr. Philip Coombs, also known as Doc Ravers, right? And we're going to talk about Dr. Coombs in a minute because I know that some of you here are actually not necessarily businesses, but you have personal brands that you're trying to build out in the digital space. And so I wanted to incorporate that into our lesson for those of you. So let's go. How is digital marketing different from traditional marketing? And if you remember in the last class, I said that it's more alike than it is dissimilar, but there are fundamental differences between the two. So I've come up with 6 major ways in which I think digital marketing differs from traditional marketing. And the first one is visibility and reach. And what do I mean by visibility and reach? Well, if you are in the digital space and you're building out a digital presence, it's easier for you to get seen. Think about it. You're on social media platforms, you're on the website, you may have a podcast, you may be on YouTube. So the more places you show up online is the more you're increasing your chances of being seen and of your content or your messaging or your branding to reach more people. No, it's not about just being visible and being able to reach more people, but it's about being visible to the right people, right? And having your message reach its intended audience. So that's important. And in that way, it's very similar to marketing. However, there is an increased visibility and reach that you get on digital marketing for several reasons. One of the reasons being on social media platform, there are millions of users on a daily basis. They're using these platforms very often, and sometimes they're looking for things. They want to be entertained or they're looking for information, etc. And so they will come seeking out that information. And if you're positioned properly, then you will be visible and you will attract those persons to you. Relevance. Now, this is important as well. In traditional marketing, we talk about the outbound approach to the outbound methods that traditional marketing use, meaning that messages get sent out en masse to as many people as possible. Now, you may come across that message because you are either listening to the radio or watching the TV or just driving down the road and there's this big billboard. It may not be relevant to you. You may not want to buy a 2022 Toyota, whatever, right? You may not want to buy that, but here's this billboard or here's this ad. It's not relevant to you. And if the message is not relevant to you, and relevance has a lot to do with timing, if it's not relevant to you at the time, then it's neither here nor there, right? So it's either the message wasn't intended for you or the message just didn't resonate with you at that particular time, right? You may not be at a place in the buyer's journey, and we're going to talk about that today, where you're even considering buying a car. It may be in the back of your mind, but you're just not there yet. So in that instance, the message is not relevant to you, okay? But when you're in the digital space, relevance becomes important again because of the inbound method of digital marketing. Because persons are at the point where they're going to find the information, right? Or if again you've positioned yourself correctly, when they are ready to find the information, then they will find it, and then at that point it becomes relevant to them. We're going to talk about that some more later on. With digital marketing, there are more ways to communicate to your audience. Before, with traditional marketing, we talked about billboards, print, radio, TV. even mobile, right? However, now with again social media, websites, apps, all sort of um, different mobile technologies, etc., there are more communication channels for you to adapt or not adapt, adopt, O-A-D-O-P-T, adopt into your marketing strategy so you're reaching a bigger audience segment, right? And you're also increasing the chance that you are going to be reaching your audience segment. Access. Access is another way that digital marketing differs, because before, if you wasn't a big company with a big marketing team or can afford a marketing agency to run your ads, you run into problems because you just don't have the kind of ad spend to go spend on a primetime TV slot or a primetime radio slot. Those are expensive. Print ads are expensive. With digital, anybody can access digital platforms. And whether you choose the organic route or the paid route or a combination of both, at least you already have access to the platforms, and you can spend as little as what, $5 to run an ad on these platforms and really make gains and generate leads with a low budget. Now, that may not always be the case, and it really depends on the audience you're trying to reach. And when we start talking about digital advertising and promotions, you'll understand more of what I mean. Because in some ways it's not different. You still need to have a decent ads budget to be able to reach the people you want to reach, but smaller budgets over longer periods of time can also help you build up that audience as well. We'll talk about it. The ability to customize your message, that's important. It's the same thing as personalization, right? When you are in that space and you're trying to build your community and build your audience, another part of becoming relevant to that audience is if that audience feels that you're talking to me. This is about me. This is for me, right? And one of the ways you can do that quickly is through message customization. In fact, it could be that you have one message that you're now breaking up into multiple messages, and each is being directed at a different audience segment. That's also possible in the digital space at a relatively cheaper, because if you're doing that in the traditional marketing space, imagine having 5 different ads running on the radio because you're trying to talk to 5 different audience segments. One, it doesn't make sense because you can't target on a radio ad necessarily. It's difficult to do that because you just don't have access to the data, right? You can target, and you can even retarget on digital marketing platforms. In fact, when you're looking at paid strategies, retargeting is up there, and we'll get into what retargeting is, but it has a lot to do with how you customize your message for a particular audience. In last class, we talked about how Pepsi Jamaica does their marketing within this space and how it is very culturally relevant to us, how they do their marketing as opposed to how they would market in the US market or even in the Trinidadian market, because it's not just a regional thing, it's also local based marketing as well, right? So message customization becomes important at different points. And the last is data accuracy. Every platform, whether it's website, social media, apps, mobile, every platform has a data analytics tool. And what that data analytics tool does is it gives you information that you can use to perfect your strategy or develop your strategy. Information such as who is following you? Is it more men than women? Where do they live? How old are they? What time do they come online? Where online they are at different points? What do they like to watch when they're online? What are their interests? Types of jobs they do. It can get very detailed. if you're looking at a tool like Google Analytics that you would embed in your website, Google Analytics can even tell you where the person came from before they came to your site. So did they come to your site from your socials? Did they come to your site from another website? How are they getting to your site? And now with just a simple information is as where were they coming from before they got to your site is important, because that can tell you whether or not your strategy is actually working. If it is that you're trafficking people from your social media site to one of your main sites like your website or your email, you can know that it's working because of link clicks, right? So if they're clicking the link in your bio on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, Google Analytics will tell you that. Another tool like Facebook Pixel. Facebook Pixel is another tool that you embed in your website, and what it does is Facebook Pixel can actually help you in your ads when you're running paid ads. It will tell you how many people went from your paid ads to your Facebook, or just in general, how many people goes from your Facebook to your ads, how many to your page, how many people saw your ads, etc. And then you can use Facebook Pixel to retarget the persons who didn't make it all the way through to the end of your funnel, which is usually the conversion stage. Don't worry if you don't know what I mean by funnel. We're getting into that today. All right. So data accuracy is important because it can help you better target your audience, better understand who your audience is, what they want, and then give that to them, right? That's the whole point of having better, more accurate data. When you sign up for a social media platform, they're asking you a bunch of questions: your name, your email address, probably your location, who your friends and family are on the site. They're gonna ask you things like your nationality. They get so much information. So when it comes to running ads on these social media sites, you can get very, very, very detailed with those ads. And the more detailed your ads get, is the more targeting you're doing, and and in some cases, in most cases, the better the results that you will get. So these are some of the ways I think digital marketing differs from traditional marketing. Now, in terms of personal branding, and that's why Dr. Coombs is here. In terms of personal branding, digital marketing differs because in the traditional marketing space, in order for you to become what do you call that? A personality, a public personality, you would either have to be a radio host, but more likely a TV host. You have to be on TV, or maybe appear in the paper a couple of times consistently, or become an award-winning journalist, like for instance, like a Kalila Reynolds. So with the digital space, though, you don't have to wait to be discovered in the traditional sense. You can create opportunities for yourself to be discovered. And that's what Dr. Philip Coombs did. Now, whether he did it intentionally or unintentionally, that's not clear. But he has become a popular public figure or personality now because of his digital presence and how he has maneuvered the digital space. And it all started, well, not started, but culminated with this video.
This next video is on the famous gas pain. Medically speaking, the term gas pain does not exist. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. Now, when we Jamaicans say we have gas pain, what we're really referring to is either gastroesophageal reflux disease, peptic ulcer disease, abdominal bloating, abdominal discomfort, or constipation.
So I'm sure if you guys know Dr. Coombs, you know this video, the bus gas video, right? So he started a mini series on his Instagram page where he sought to dispel certain medical myths. He's a doctor, he's a medical doctor. and he sought to dispel some medical myths by talking about some of the traditional ways we think about medicine and health in Jamaica. And he's kind of doing a myth busting with these, right? And it's educational, it's informative, but it's also very entertaining. Now, before he was posting, and he had kind of, was developing like a fellowship, I call it. But after this series came out, especially at the time it went viral, I think this video went viral at one point. It was a matter of visibility, and it was a matter of relevance to people. And so just doing this mini series on his Instagram, him kind of bust big, right? And now you see Dr. Coombs doing collaborating with the government on Jamaica Moves, and he did collaboration with the government on COVID education. He was a brand ambassador for Victoria Mutual one time. He does several brand ambassadorship work. He's now a popular figure that you're going to see, who has actually made the transition from being a digital personality to just a public personality, right? And it started with his efforts, his content marketing efforts. Now, again, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but because of the content he was producing and how that was received by his audience, that propelled him into the what you call it, the limelight, and helped him develop additional revenue streams, really, because these were paid ambassadorships, I'm sure. And so this is one of the ways I think digital marketing, especially content marketing and social media marketing, as a personal brand, can help you establish yourself. Because some of the things this video did for him was that, one, it establishes authority. He's a medical doctor, right? So him explaining this to you, and the way he chose to explain to you, one, it was more receptive for you. Imagine if he had on the white coat and he was in an office and he was talking like this. Yes, and using medical terminologies right through and saying things you don't even understand. It wouldn't have resonated the same. But here he is in his little scrubs, sitting in his office. Of course, he have the stethoscope because doctor look, right? Just talking to you like regular, like he's your friend, talking. That resonated more. And his explanations for things resonated more because he was using the language. The tone, the presentation, all of it was less formal, more relaxed, and I didn't feel as if I was being talked down to, right? Again, it came off as very entertaining for the most part. And if you notice, the response to it was very favorable. Most people were laughing, like, because we know in Jamaica our culture is very interesting. How we look at a lot of things. And so him kind of shining a light on the culture in and then kind of explaining to us what all of this meant in a medical sense was entertaining for a lot of people. And so I think in this way, this is one of the ways that as a personal brand, you can establish your authority. That's one. Become visible while establishing your authority. Become relevant to a particular audience and create opportunities for yourself online. And as I said, I don't know if this was intentional on his part. I think there's some intentionality behind it, especially when you realize that, people are responding to this. You see where it starts becoming a more regular thing, right? And when the brand sponsorships came in, etc. So the point to all of this is that you can create your own opportunities once you have an objective, because whether you're a personal brand or just a brand or business, there has to be some objective of going online and creating content in the online space, because it's not fun. It is not a fun thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do. So there must be some objective or some or some desired outcome. Let's say that, right? I was gonna say pre-plan, but some desired outcome that you want to get from all of this effort, and that's where we start talking about return on investment, and we're gonna look at that at a later date, at a later time as well. All right. So why do we feel that it is important that when you're putting together a marketing plan, because people tend to think that, oh, well, I'm just going to have a digital plan and I'm going to go online and do a certain thing and that is sufficient. That's not sufficient. You need a marketing plan. And within the marketing plan, there's a digital component, right? Digital marketing may not, and depending on the size of your business, how new you are in the market, the audience you're trying to reach, there are a lot of variables, but in the main, digital marketing by itself may not be sufficient. Okay, so let's talk about why an integrated approach works. Digital and traditional marketing channels work together to expand communication and increase operational efficiency. An integrated approach to marketing communications ensures that all channels are aligned and following the same strategy, because that's important. Overarching business objectives and company values. So once you figured out what it is that you're trying to do, first of all, what's the point of marketing your product and service? We said already that so you can sell more things. I think everybody goes into business to sell more things, whatever that thing is, right? So you can earn. That's the point, right? But there has to be at different stages objectives that you're trying to reach to get to that ultimate point. And so that's where your marketing plan comes in, because you can have an excellent product, excellent service, nobody knows about it, nobody buys it, people may not even be interested in it, because sometimes people don't know they're interested in something until you show it to them and they go, huh, I've always wondered about that, and then the interest develops, right? So you have to do marketing. Marketing is an absolute must. I get this all the time. Oh, I've never done marketing because I've depended on referrals. Referrals is marketing. It's word of mouth marketing. One of the most effective marketing strategies, regardless of all the fancy excitement that you're seeing in terms of marketing tactics, it's still one of the most effective. But understand that going online is word of mouth marketing. It's just in a different way. And the mouth is different from what it used to be before. Meaning, before it would be you ask your family, your friends, people that you actually know for their opinion on stuff. Or again, through mass marketing, you see it on a billboard on TV or something, right? Nowadays, what happens is when you want to find out, say for instance, you want to know where you can get a shirt printed that is, a reliable print where you can get some shirt printed. What's the first thing you're gonna do? You're gonna go on Twitter or Facebook or wherever and say, hey guys, I need some shirt print. Give me some recommendations. In fact, Facebook have Facebook recommendations. We can use Facebook recommendations to find service providers, right? So it's still word of mouth. It's just that now, instead of turning to family and friends, we're turning to people online. Why? Because it's more people with more experiences, more expansive. And so chances are that you're going to get more options, right? So, but, say for instance, somebody recommends a particular printry. They're not online, right? You try to find them only have a telephone number where you can find on yellow pages. When you call them, nobody not answer the phone. You say, all right, then become one look at shirt them print, I go visit them store. When you visit them store, it turns out that them not have the type of shirt where you want. Complete waste of your time. Why? Because their channels don't align. Them phone don't work. Them not on social media. If them have them on social media and they're posting in the last 2 years, right? And so by the time you get to the point where you're going in store, one, you're probably already frustrated, and two, when you get there, realize that they don't have what you actually want, and you know you could have saved yourself the trouble if somebody actually answered the phone, or if they have a website. Now you're gonna go online and say, "Boy, what kind of recommendation is these people are rubbish?" So whether you are marketing in the digital space or in the traditional space, one, there has to be alignment, and two, it is our belief as marketers that all channels matter. All channels matter, and you should take advantage of all channels. Now you're thinking, I'm a small business, I can't go put ad on TV. You don't necessarily have to pay for a spot on a TV or radio, especially when and we're going to talk about that when we look at types of digital media, because depending on how the type of content you're putting out into the digital space, you can actually create opportunities to be featured on TV or to be featured in the papers or on the radio. You can create those opportunities for yourself, and in that way you don't have to pay to be featured. I've been on TV quite a few times. I've never once paid to be on the TV. But because of what I was talking about in digital space and how relevant that became to somebody on the TV, I was invited to be on the TV. Sometimes it was that I reached out and say, "Hey, I have this and this happening. This is why I think it's important. Can I come on and talk about it?" And they say, "Yeah, sure, come on," right? So there are different ways that you can get into traditional marketing spaces without busting your budget, right? And we're going to talk about budgets, because you have to have marketing budgets. Whether it's digital marketing or traditional marketing or both, you have to create a budget for yourself, right? So this is why I think the integrated approach works better. And if you think about it, think about now when you hear uh, uh, um, a commercial on the radio or on TV, what do they end with? Visit us on social media, or visit our website, or no, follow us on social media at so and so and so and so on Twitter, Instagram, blah blah, or visit our website at www. So even though they're on the radio or on the TV, everybody now tries to include their digital platforms because it is easier to connect with them than if they give you a telephone number. You might not remember the telephone number, but if you remember the name of the company, you can go Google it and see if you find them on Instagram or find them website or something, right? So now more savvy marketers will make sure that they include the social media handles and the website, even in traditional advertising, right? So that has become important. That's integration. But look at this novel way that Cranwater has used both digital and traditional marketing platforms. So they have a presence on Facebook, right? But if we scroll down, you'll see that one, they are one of the sponsors of Schools Challenge Quiz, probably one of the longest running programs of this kind on TV. Everybody loves Schools Challenge Quiz, right? And so they are one of the sponsors of School Challenge Quiz, and I think they have some kind of special segment now on School Challenge Quiz. I'm not sure, but what I do know is they appeared in School Challenge Quiz when they were asked to identify. I think that were asked to identify the brand or something like that. I don't remember what they were asked to do on School Challenge Quiz, but something about
which Jamaican artist recorded the single "Equal Rights"? Incorrect. Peter Tosh. Go. It's time for your first minute. In the Bible, who was Esau's paternal grandfather?
I don't remember what it was, but there was in one of these School Challenge Quiz, something came up about Cranwater, and they had to answer the question, whatever. So, and a School Challenge Quiz will do that. They depend on sponsors to keep the program running, and so what will happen is sometimes you see information about the sponsor appear, whether during an ad, because School Challenge Quiz is, you can call it prime time. A lot of people tune in to watch it or to watch the replay of it. So having advertising slots during that time can also be very beneficial. And apparently there is some collaboration going on between Schools Challenge Quiz and Cranwater. This is one way that they're integrated both their digital channels and traditional marketing channels in their marketing plan, just generally. You'll find that banks do that a lot. And I need to let me log in. One of the banks that does this very often, or I think does it well, is JMB. Why are you giving me grief? JMB, okay, let's not do that. JMB has an entire feature on Facebook with their marketing manager, Kerry Ann Stimson. I don't remember what the name of the feature is, but you see JMB advertising all over the place in traditional marketing channels, but they do have a very robust digital presence, right? And they're always posting. I want to find this series. I don't know if the series is back up yet. I know they have breaks, but this is Shirley Duncan Foster. She's a senior corporate manager of JMB. What you'll find is you'll find that a lot of the times they use their internal teams to do videos on their social, which is, I think, is a good tactic because you want to put a face to the brand, and they've done that very well. You see them include a bit of influencer marketing here with Julie Mango, who's a comedian and a viral TikTok star. So they do a lot of that. Of course, they have their Elevate what do you call it, events that they do, conferences that they do. So this is again one of the ways, again, more influencer marketing here with Yende Phillips. So you see that if you go through, they do a lot of incorporating of, and again with Kalila Reynolds, more influencer marketing. They incorporate a lot of digital marketing strategy, as well as combine that with their marketing strategy, and they've built out a very robust digital platform. And you'll notice something with JMB as well. They're very women family centric. And so with their branding, with the topics they talk about, etc., you'll notice that women feature heavily. Their branding is consistent across all their channels. They have a very good marketing they have a very good marketing apparatus built out, and this is a good example of what you can do as well. And if you look at how many persons are following JMB on Facebook, 143,000, right? But if I go to Instagram and I look at JMB on Instagram, you'll see that they have less of a following on Instagram. Who can tell me why they think JMB has less of a following on Instagram than they do on Facebook? I see raised hands. Shauna K, your hand is raised. You can go ahead. Shauna K.
Right. It's the age group.
You're breaking up pretty bad. What?
It's the age group. You tend to find
Age
the
group.
person
Okay.
on
Shauna K
Facebook.
says age group. All right. Tenaje, is that how you pronounce your name?
It's Tinajaki, and their
Tenaje.
target market is common for them is commonly found on Facebook. So as my previous classmate said, their age group, that target market is found on Facebook.
What
For
target
them,
market are we talking about? How would you define that target market?
I would consider persons more of the older millennials. Um,
Older millennials?
yes, interested in connecting and wealth and anything like
Older
that.
older millennials. Those two
Yes.
things are antithetical to each other. But all right then. All right. Tenaje K. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Who else? I see Daniel had his hand up. He doesn't have his hand up anymore. All right, guys. So yeah, pretty much the audience. It's the audience, right? And so you can imagine that one is a banking group, two the persons that they're trying to reach. You can kind of look at the content and tell who they're targeting. It tends to be an older group. It tends to be women of a particular age or family, you know. And so you'll find that Facebook is probably a better platform for them to be on, to kind of, get that messaging across and connect with that audience. Look at Barita. Barita Investments have 44,000 followers on Instagram. Let's look at how many followers they have on Facebook. 7,329. Why do you think that Barita has less of a following on Facebook than they do on Instagram? I have a theory. Barita has good marketing. I don't know if it's the best marketing, but they do have a very good marketing. There's one thing that I'm surprised Barita don't have that I thought would have been obvious for them to have, but we are going to discuss that. Let's see, who have I never spoken to before? Christina Williamson, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Barely.
No?
Yes.
Oh, so I think that for Barito, even though older people do invest, personally, my parents are low risk investors versus me, who is more high risk because I have a longer lifetime to live now. So I think for them, they think it's easier to connect with a younger audience on Instagram. And the way that they market too is better for Instagram than the way that they market for, like the way that you market for Facebook. So I think that is why they're more on Instagram. But it's very interesting to see that it's just 7,000 people that follow them on Facebook.
Okay. Okay. I guess, yeah. Yeah. But I don't think that's the primary reason. You kind of touched on it initially when you were talking about investment. But I don't think that's the primary reason, but I think that is a part of it. Yes. Tashika Thompson, go ahead. Why do you think Barita, why would it seem as if their audience base is bigger on Instagram than it is on Facebook?
I think their marketing tactics is more geared towards younger people. Like they use a lot of memes and trends. I don't know if you remember when was it Keisha, the girl who was doing the combo special, and the police were warning her not to go ahead with it, and then Barita jumped on it and put out a ad. Like anything that happens on the internet and it goes viral, they always jump on that trend and market
Yeah.
to younger people based on what's going on, even though they have other marketing strategies. I notice that they do that a lot. They use a lot of memes and current events
Right,
to do
because they
their
want to
marketing.
connect with a particular
So
audience
yes,
and
so
will
it's
find.
better for them to do that on Twitter or Instagram as opposed to Facebook.
Right, it makes them seem cool. It makes them seem
Young
with
and
it,
hip.
on
Yeah.
trend, right? Yes, but that's still not what I'm looking for. But definitely, that I think that's a part of it. Who else have I not spoken to before? Let me go to the chat. For people with short attention span, okay, it comes off as more as entertainment, just as info. Yes, younger audience. Okay, everybody says younger audience. why do you think they have a younger audience? Because I'm sure, I don't think it was intentional. Well, I think the marketing is intentional. But why do you think Barita has a younger audience? Raquel, you're kind of there. You're kind of there. You're kind of there. Raquel says making investments sexy. Exactly, Yannick. Yannick got it exactly right, because more young people are looking into investments and stocks and all sort of. It's become it's become a millennial kind of Gen Z topic, right? Sorry, Gen X topic, right? Everybody nowadays is talking about, oh, you can make money on the stock market and blah 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 blah. So there is a renewed interest in not just stocks and investment, but in money and acquiring wealth. And so I think Barita, seeing that trend, jumped on it. Has it been working for them? I think so, right? And then you have Kalila Reynolds, who came out with Taking Stock and Money Mondays, her series, right? So and then you had what's his name, Ro, I forgot what his first name is, Ro, with his podcast on stocks. And you had several people now on Twitter talking about stocks, and Randy Ro, there you go, talking about stocks and investment. In fact, there's a whole finance Twitter, which is Jamaican Twitter. It's called Finance Twitter, right? You have Jillian, who talks about money. There's so many people who are now talking about money, because we say we're not broke again. We're not be with parents. We're not live broke life in our 70s and 80s and broke. We're not do that, right? And so we're more interested in stocks and investments and money management and money acquiring wealth, etc., right? And as Anika says, more non-traditional ways to build wealth with less sweat. Well, investment is not non-traditional. Investment is very traditional. But what is non-traditional is how we are talking about money is very non-traditional. But yes, I think that's the reason why Barita has a bigger audience based on Instagram, because that's where the audience is. That's where the young people are who are interested in this thing. Even on Twitter, let's look at Barita on Twitter. Making money work for you, Barita investment, serious business. I like radio jingles. I'm sorry, not barista, Barita. All right. Barita Investment, they have 4,000 followers on 4,000 followers on Twitter. But if you notice, they do Twitter Spaces, and they invite a lot of popular finance people, influencers, thought leaders in the digital space, to come on and talk with them, etc., right? And of course, they have as well a very robust digital presence. So guys, the point of all of this, I see some questions in the Q&A. I'm going to come to them shortly while I wrap up this segment. The point of all of this, guys, was just to talk about how much better it is. And of course, Barita have them big billboard. You see Barita billboard, them the palm bridge, them the palm poster, then them on TV, then them on radio. They're everywhere, right? And it has worked out for them. I think probably one of their most successful channels is on social media. But everything works together in their benefit, because they do know that they have older people who are interested in investing who are not on social media, right? These traditional investors, they may think social media is a little bit gimmicky, so they're not on social media, and so they are the ones who will read in the paper. Barita constantly have full page ads in the paper. They put out their stock options. When they're doing IPO, they make big excitement of it. You think it's an album launch, how they do their IPO launches these days, because they're trying to get through a certain audience base, right? All right, and they can reach more people. So they can reach their traditional investors, they can reach millennial investors, Gen X investors, and diaspora investors. That's also important as well, right? So guys, long and short of it is having an integrated marketing plan works out better for you, because as Bonaventure University says, creating a unified and seamless experience for consumers to interact with the brand or the enterprise. That's what integrated marketing does. It attempts to meld all aspects of marketing communication, such as advertising, sales promotion, public relations, direct marketing, and social media through their respective mix of tactics, methods, channels, media, and activities so that all work together as a unified force. And it sophisticates your brand. And we're going to talk about that as well. How having a digital presence as a traditional brand or business, like a bank or even a government agency, adds sophistication and legitimacy. Well, legitimacy for non established business, but sophistication and modernity to these long established institutions, which is what they want. Because again, remember, there are new consumers coming on the market every single day. And not because you are NCB, you think people automatically going to care about who you are, what you do, right? And of course, NCB have competitors. So you're constantly having to reintroduce yourself to the market almost on a daily basis. That's why Pepsi is on social media, and Nike and Gucci and even some of these long Moet, these long what we call legacy brands. Legacy brands are brands that have been around for like 100 and odd years, right? They're on social media. Do they need to be on social media? You might not think they do, but they do, because new audience segment and new wealth. Digital is creating new wealth for a lot of people. A lot of young people are finding new wealth through digital, becoming digital personalities and creating revenue streams for themselves using technology. And so increase buying power, right? And so you want them to buy your Hermes bag, right? Right. So it's not a, there's no, the elitist attitude that we used to have around marketing, digital has completely come and mash up that dolly house, because everybody has access now, right? Everybody has access now. All right, guys, and that's it for this for lesson 1. I am going to no, I'm going to go to the chat and see what people are saying in the chat. Okay. If we think of how they've changed and grown from 2014 to current date, their focus on their digital strategy has become more cutting edge. Some. Not all of them. So, though they merged in marketing all across the board, they really made major moves with their digital plan, YouTube's. Yeah. And COVID kicked a lot of them in the teeth. COVID kicked a lot of people in the teeth. Because there was hesitation. There was a lot of hesitation. But then COVID came in and people had to pivot. And where are you going to pivot? To where the people are, which is online, right? Q&A. I am unable to see the slides clearly. Guys, can you guys see my slides? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. If you've already started a business in the digital space without having done a marketing plan or a digital plan, can you still do it? The best time to start is now. Yes. It's never too late. Will you need to rebrand after doing such a plan? You may not need to rebrand, but depending on what your strategy is, you may have to stay consistent. You may have to stay consistent. Rebranding is not always necessary, but if you're implementing a new strategy, it may become necessary. All right, guys. So that's it for lesson 1, and we're gonna quickly go into lesson 2. Boy, time flying, man, it's already 11 o'clock. Jeez Louise. Okay, so we're gonna quickly go into lesson 2, and I'm excited about lesson 2 because one, in the first cohort, we actually didn't go a lot into these things. But having gone through that first cohort, I think there's some important foundational things you guys need to know before we really delve into the sexy part, like content marketing and social media marketing, which I think a lot of people came here for. But you need to know the foundational stuff first, before. Asha Brown asks, how long are classes usually supposed to last? Can somebody help Asha, please? Because I think I've said it way too many times. All right, then. So we're going to look at some foundational things. Somebody help out Asha, please. Thank you, guys. All right. So let's look at business models and structure. All right. Asha says, OMG. All right, Asha. I think they've answered your question for me. Thank you, guys. So what do we mean by, let's skip all of this. What are we talking about when we talk about business models specifically? Pretty much with business models, what we're talking about is how are you going to make money? What can you do? Not what can you do? What is it? What are you going to sell? What product are you going to sell? What service are you going to sell? How are you going to sell it? How are you going to make money? That's what your business model is. It's an integral, or it's a plan, I should say. And integral to this plan is the identification of certain key success elements, such as your value proposition, your customer segments, your customer relationship and how you're developing those relationships, the channels you're going to use to communicate, cost structures, and revenue streams. Guys, I'm going to quickly say this. During class time, can we focus on class stuff? Let's not talk about where you're going to get slides and all that. Let's just focus on class stuff. Pay attention to this. You don't have access to my slides, you have access to the recording. Okay? But let's just focus on the lesson so you guys don't miss anything. And so, if there are questions, then I can answer those questions. All right? All right. So, yes, your business plan is really a document that outlines how your business plans to make money. And there are certain key success elements or components to that. And what do I mean by key success elements? These are the building blocks then that are going to, or steps or activities or strategies that you need to do to ensure that you are actually making money. Because everybody's in business to make money, right? All right. So that's what I mean by key success elements, the components of your plan that you're going to implement or activate in order to be able to realize your plan, right? And one of the components is value proposition. What do we mean by value proposition? What makes you special? What makes you different? What makes your product special? What makes your product different? That's what we mean by value proposition. What value are you adding to the market by putting this product or service out on the market? How is your product or service different? Say, for instance, you're a national bakery. Well, you're not national bakery. We have national bakery, and then you're a small baker. In my social media cohort, I had one of my students was a baker, right? What makes her bread different from national bakery bread? What makes mongoose bread different from hardo bread? Do you understand what I'm saying? What is the value that your product or service is offering, and that would make it stand out or would make somebody choose it over your competitor? Well, she was making kosher, I think it was kosher, using kosher ingredients in her bread, and her bread was artisan bread, like ciabatta. I don't remember what the name of her breads are, I'm sorry, but she made specialized bread which were non-traditional Jamaican bread. So there was a Jewish version of a bread, there was a French version of bread, etc. That was a part of her value proposition. It could be how the thing is made. That is what adds value to the thing. So if you say something like, I'm going to show you, instead of saying it, I'm going to um I'm going to say it. Instead of saying it, I'm going to show you. Let's look at YouTube, and I want to show you a video, and I want you guys to tell me what you think the value proposition is. There's a video by this gentleman, Wesley. I think it's Wellesley. Don't quote me. I think it's Wellesley. If you go to Digital Jamaica's Instagram and you scroll down, I did an interview with him. I think his name is Wellesley. He's the founder of My Island Jamaica. It's one of the websites in Jamaica that gets the most hits. Period. Not even government websites get as much hits as his site. Now, he made this video, and I've used this video. So if you've been in my social media group before, you'd have seen this video before. But I want to show you this video. The video is titled How to Make Pure Jamaican Castor Oil. Pure Jamaican black castor oil. Now, if you know anything about the natural hair community, you'll know that Jamaican black castor oil is the holy grail of ingredients, like, right, in natural hair products. But because it's such a popular ingredient, there are a lot of times where so little of it is put into a product that it becomes useless. Or some people say it's Jamaican black castor oil, but it's not really Jamaican black castor oil. So look at the video title. The video title says how to make pure, in capital letter, Jamaican black castor oil, full process in capital letter, 100% organic in capital letter, traditional and authentic. Now I want you guys to think about how the video is titled, and then I want you guys to watch the video. So let me start again.
So this is the magic. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am in my neck of the woods. This is the community that I grew up in. Always loved coming here. And today I'm doubly excited because I'm going to learn how to make Jamaican black castor oil. Alright? A community member, Sally, a lady who I grew up seeing, learning about making castor oil, is going to show me and show you how to make the real, authentic Jamaican black castor oil. Stay tuned.
All right, let's fast forward a little.
Like Sally, the outline to me and my viewers now. First thing you do,
These doodly videos
YouTube videos will kill you, man.
are better than
Skipping, yes. So Sally is outlining the process, and you're gonna see if you watch the video. I'll drop the link. I'll encourage you all to go watch the video. If you watch the video, she literally walks you to the step, because the beans, the pods that you use to make Jamaican black castor actually grows on her property. She shows you how she pick them, how she dry them on the zinc, the piece of zinc, how she shell them, how she boil them, and how she remove the impurities, and how she get the Jamaican black castor oil. What do you think? What would you say the value proposition for the My Island Jamaica black castor oil is? What would you say the value proposition is? I see raise hands. Let's see who I've not spoken to before. Mabutu Mewalimu. I hope I know I butchered that. You can let me know how you pronounce your name. You can unmute. Mabuta? No, don't want to talk. Okay, Kimberly, go ahead. Kimberly Solomon.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Hi. So I think with this channel, the opportunity to see behind the scenes, to trace the process of creation is very important.
Why?
Persons love transparency.
All
Persons
right.
love, again, the opportunity to feel like they are a part of the production process.
Yes. What
And
else?
I think too, it may be a case where because persons have lied about the source of the products, it helps to allow persons to see the authenticity.
Authenticity. But there's one more thing. What's that one more thing, Kimberly? What's another major reason why you'd want to show your process? Because it's risky, isn't it?
It is.
It's risky to show your process, right? Because people can
Yes.
steal it.
Right. Just sweep it up.
But so what is one of the ways you can, what is one of the benefits or the value of showing behind the scenes that will overcome that risk, that will help you overcome that risk? There's one more. Everything you said was yes, spot on, but there's one more thing that I'm looking for, one more reason. I'm gonna ask somebody else. Christina,
No problem.
Kimberly, thank you so much.
No problem.
Rachel, go ahead, Rachel. What do you think that one thing is in terms of showing the people behind the scenes? What's that one major reason why a business or a brand would do that? Go ahead, Rachel.
Hi, yes, I think that
Can barely hear
to
you. Can you talk a little bit louder?
hi, yes, are you hearing me now?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. It's a little low, but we
Okay,
can hear.
okay. I was saying that to show that the products are really natural because that's
Okay.
their target audience to say, hey, this is how we make it. No, additives or anything. People can
What's
trust
the
that.
point of showing them that my product is authentic and that it is
To
natural? What?
establish authority, I would say.
Okay. Okay. Why
Credibility
would you,
is like
credibility author? Why do you need to do that?
establish trust with the customers.
Yes. Why? There's a why.
They
There's
know
a
that what they're
why of
buying
it all.
is good quality, authentic.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm thinking.
All right. Thank you so much, Rachel. All right. Let's say Daniel. Daniel, do you know the why? Why do you need to establish that your product is authentic, that is 100% natural? Why do you need to establish that is this little lady from this little village in our Jamaica was sit down and painstakingly made this castor oil? Why do you need to do that, Daniel?
Because
I can't hear you at all.
hello.
Yes, there you
Hear me a little
go.
better. All
Yes,
right.
that's great.
A lot of the times when you have a brand, there's usually a lot of talk going around it, maybe a little bit of propaganda.
Okay.
So showing the process, showing how authentic it is, it sort of dispels a lot of that, any sort of mythical thought that there might be about your product.
Yes, so
And
you're controlling the narrative around your product, right?
yeah, you're
And
trying
you're
to take
building
control of that.
perceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Thank you. That's one. That's not what I'm looking for, but that's one. Thank you, Daniel. Let me go to the chat and see who in the chat can guess it. Trigger emotion, yes. Just thank you, Louis, to justify the cost or the price of the product. That's why you do that. Because the Jamaican black castor oil being this majorly sought after ingredient in Jamaican hair products or just in natural hair products or just as a treatment for your hair, if you can show that I make the most authentic, original black castor oil coming from Jamaica, hence the name Jamaican Black Castor Oil, from this little old lady in this country, I can charge you $50 for that one little bottle of castor oil. There's a perception of value. When we look later on, when we look at frameworks, we're going to look at pricing, the 4 P's of marketing, and one of the P's is pricing. And we're going to talk about how pricing is not just about the actual cost, but the perception of value. Now, when you are showing them the behind the scenes and the authenticity, and you're ensuring that people know that this is no gimmick thing, this is 100% real, and they go, wow, me never know, say, I so much work going on, me go look back at castle. Now I understand why it costs so much. That's one of the main reasons why. Yes, Shauna Kate, cost that much because it takes me hours. Okay, so yes, that's what that is. That's one of the main reasons why you do that, and that's what overcomes the risk of you actually showing your process. Now, a lot of these behind the scenes videos, they cut out some very important parts of the videos, and you don't even know that they've cut out some important part of the videos, but they show you most of the manufacturing or the development process. And that is why Gucci can say that, listen, I'm selling this top for $5,000 because it was handmade by Italian grannies in the French Alps by hand, and they sew every bead individually by hand. That's why it costs $5,000. It's a value proposition, right? So that's one. I'm glad you guys got that. Great answers, guys. Great answers. I like how you guys are thinking. All right, the next one is customer segments. Guys, there's no such customer segment as everybody, anybody, some people, the people, them over there. So there's no such customer segment. Okay, even if you are creating a product, think about it. Even if you're a JPS or a water commission, and you think, well, those are essential services and everybody needs those services, sure, but not everybody like connect up the right way or connect up at all. Not everybody water connect up at all. So who is JPS and Water Commission talking to, knowing full well say not everybody think connect up? Paying customers, and they're using that conversations to influence non-paying customers to pay. Right? But going outside of that, you make bread. Everybody eats bread, right? Not really. Some people can't eat bread because they have what you call it, silica. They're allergic to silica, which is the thing in yeast. Is it silica? Don't quote me on that either. That's what gluten-free bread is for. So some people can't eat certain yeast in bread because it's gluten-free, or them can't eat white flour because they're on a health thing or blah, blah. Different people, most people eat bread. A lot of people eat bread, but not everybody eat bread. And it's not everybody will eat bread. I don't want to eat your bread, right? So you have to think carefully about, first of all, why am I creating this product or service? What's the point of this? What's the purpose of this product or service? It's in most instances is to solve some problem. And when you hear problem, people think something negative. It may not be a negative problem necessarily, right? Me wanting a particular kind of bread because I'm on a diet is not a problem per se. It's preference. I'm satisfying a preference, right? Or a customer expectation, right? But that's what your product and service is really made for. You're solving a problem, or you're presenting a solution or an option or an alternative for a particular customer segment. That's what you're doing. But you have to know what are the customer segments, because it doesn't have to be one. You could have a primary, a secondary, a thirdary, a fourthary. You know what I mean? A fifthary. You could have different customer segments that you are marketing different products and services for. You have companies that have a wide range of products and they market it towards different people. or different customer segments, but you have to have a very good idea of who your customer is. And later on, when we talk about content marketing and social media marketing, we're going to go a little bit into developing your target audience, right? Because that's important. We're going to talk about audience personas, and all that we mean is, in order for you to get a really good idea of who this product is for, because again, you're solving a problem for them, you're creating alternatives for them or options for them, you have to kind of put a name and a face to it. So when we do persona building, what we're doing is we're kind of zooming into our target audience and pinpointing one person who really, what's the word? That one person who envelops, I'm at a loss for words here. That one person who kind of is the your ideal client, your ideal audience member, right? And that ideal audience member is what will define that audience segment. So for instance, going back to my former student who makes bread, I think it's Just Soup and Bread. I see somebody put that in the chat. Thank you. Just Soup and Bread. Who is she targeting with her bread? I know every Jamaican interested in an artisan bread. I just want a piece of hard bread. I can just slap some butter and I go on my business, right? Who is she marketing to? Who is going to spend $1,000 on one little piece of bread? So, who is she marketing her bread to? Right? Clearly, it's not me. Clearly, I'm not her target audience, right? When she markets her Jewish bread that is kosher, who is she marketing that bread to? It may not just be, we do have Jewish people in Jamaica, I'm sure, but it may not be for them. There may not be a large enough customer segment to sustain her business. So it may just be people who are vegans, or who are vegetarians, or who are on some health journey, or whatever. That may be her customer segment, her ideal audience. Her ideal audience may be somebody who just have an elevated palate, a sophisticated palate. They can't do hard bread, darling. Okay? It may just be that, right? Or it just may be somebody who wants to explore new foods and options and stuff. Who is the customer segment? Who are you talking to? Who's your product for? And what do you want them to know about you? And that's where the customer relationship development comes in. You have to develop a relationship with your customer. And by relationship, it's not just, they're buying, you're selling. That is the foundation of the relationship. But in this day and age, you're going to have to do a lot more work than that to convince or influence people to buy from you. They're going to want to know who you represent, who you support. Because if you support people I don't support, you're not getting my money, right? So you have to build that relationship with your customer, because your customer wants to see themselves reflected in your business. You want to know that this business shares the same morals or standards, or represent the same thing I represent, or like the same things I like, or support the people I support. Take, for instance, Nike. Nike was very strategic with that Colin Kaepernick move, weren't they? Right? Everybody was dogging Colin Kaepernick, him lose all him deals and him can't play football no more, in the NFL no more. And Nike's like, we're going to stand by him. That's our guy. We're going to stand by him. And people started burning Nike shoes. Now, notice the shoes them burn was the baby boomer Nikes that we don't wear. They weren't going to burn them expensive Nike shoes. But, they have to do it for the public, because I'm against this message, right? But then what happened? Nike sales skyrocketed through the roof. Why? Because there were more person who was on the side of Kaepernick than were not, at least in the digital space. And so Nike's message, which Nike never really made much of a statement. But they had Colin Kaepernick in their commercial. They had him kneeling. They had him explaining what the reason for his protests were, blah, blah, blah. In that way, Nike was sending a message to say Black Lives Matter, We stand with our athletes. We believe in freedom of speech. All that good stuff. Of course, that was marketing. That was political marketing. And political marketing is very effective, especially when you live in a politically divisive country like America. Right? If you are a brand in a politically divisive country like America, coming down, you are almost forced to come down on one side or the other. You can't be wishy-washy and sit on the fence. It's not going to work out very well for you. So you have to understand who your customer segment is. Nike, no black people spend money on Nikes. Probably one of the most popular athletic shoe brand in the black community worldwide. Nike, no. Look at the athletes that Nike support. They know, right? And so I think it was a no-brainer for them. It was a no-brainer for them to support Colin Kaepernick, right? So that was a part of their customer relationship development. No, they never come out and say we're developing a customer relationship, but that's what they were doing when Instagram, doing the whole Black Lives Matter thing, Instagram come and say, oh, well, we're putting aside $500,000 for black creators. That was customer relationship development. In fact, when all brands during the Black Lives Matter movement at the height of it was setting aside money for black people, right? That was a part of their customer relationship development, because one, black people has, and this is true for a group in a society that is one of they're a marginalized group, but they're also a minor group in the American society. They actually have a disproportionate spending power. They have a very huge spending power. Everybody wants to get a piece of that, especially in the beauty space. Everybody wants to get a piece of that. So nobody was trying to upset black people, and everybody was jumping on this whole Black Lives Matter thing. Even to this day, it's still a thing. If a company like who was it? Was it Chipotle? No, it was Papa John's that made some statements, and he was supporting Donald Trump and lost business because of it, like major business because of it, because people were like, no, canceled, right? A lot of celebrities lost fans that way too when some of them came out in support of Donald Trump, or when they stayed silent when certain things was happening. And I'll give you an example. Rachel Hollis and she was, at the time, she was a big author and speaker, and she was doing her white girl thing, going around and writing books where she where she quote Maya Angelou and act like it was hers, but that's a whole different story. She was at the heights of her stardom, and then the not Michael Brown, what's the George Floyd situation happened. Is it George Floyd? Oh God. It's George Floyd, right? For some reason today my brain is not working. And what tends to happen now with brands, personal brands and businesses, when something so astronomical happens in a society, your fan base, your customer is going to turn to you and go, so what you have to say about it? And if you have nothing to say about it, that silence is very heavy and it can cost you. She said nothing. She never, most of her fan base was like, girl, you're not going to come out and make a statement, say you're against police brutality. Nothing. A lot of celebrities got caught out for that because they refused to say anything. And people are like, oh, so you're more interested in protecting yourself than actually supporting your fans, blah, 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 blah. And child, it did not work out very well for her. It did not work out very well for her, right? And that was the start of the demise of Rachel Hollis. From there, everything just went to the dogs, right? And so in customer relationship development, understanding your customer is important. Understand what it makes your customers tick. You ever heard about that? You ever hear people say that? What makes you tick? What makes your customer tick? What they're interested in, what they represent, what they stand for. Understanding that, unlike Pepsi, were doing the Black Lives Matter, they thought it was a good time to have Kylie Jenner out there giving policeman Pepsi in the commercial, and people were like, really? Truly? Right now? Nobody, you guys don't have meetings? No black people was in that meeting? Because what? It did not go down very well, and they lost stocks, like market plummet. Short period of time, but still plummeted. Right? So nowadays in the digital age, you have to be careful that you are, and I'm not saying you have to kowtow to everything your customers say or want, etc., or have to believe in everything they believe in. But again, it's about a perception of, because if you want loyalty in this day and age, you're gonna have to earn it. You're gonna have to earn it. It's not as automatic as it used to be, or as inferred as it used to be. Now you're gonna have to take action, like visible action, for me to see that, yeah, okay, this is somebody I mess with. This is a company that knows right from wrong, or believes in the same thing I believe in, and so I'm going to support. So customer relationship development looks very different in 2022 than it did 20 years ago. Right? And it's become hard for marketers and companies to kind of toe that line. All right? It has become very hard. All right. The other thing is communication channels. Knowing another part of understanding your customer segment is understanding where they are online. Are they on Twitter? Are they on Instagram? Sometimes it could be that they're on both, but they're on both at different times of the day, or they're on both for different reasons. So I am on Twitter because Twitter is just an easier space to have a conversation. You can get into conversations, you can message people. People are more responsive on Twitter. This is in my view, right? Twitter is a little bit more responsive. You can get in conversations, you can start conversations. But you can't necessarily do that so easily on Instagram, because Twitter is a less visual and more conversational platform. Now, in the folder that I created for you guys in the course material, there's a document in there called digital platform something. I don't remember what the name of it is. If you look at that document, what I did was I went ahead and I gave you the pros and cons of each platform, the best type of content for each platform, and kind of explain what value each platform has in your marketing plan, right? So one is a conversation-based platform, that's Twitter. Instagram is more of a visual platform, right? And now more multimedia than anything else, because remember, Instagram started out as an image-based platform. Now it's multimedia. Now Instagram is pushing videos, and it's very chaotic over there now, as far as I'm concerned. It's kind of discombobulating too, because there's just all these videos going all over the place, and it's very noisy. But I digress. Right? So you'll find that your audience segment, they may be on different platforms, but they're wanting different things on the different platforms. There's a reason why they're on Instagram at a certain point in the day, and maybe on Twitter or TikTok at a later time during the day, or on a different day, right? They're getting different things from the different platforms, and you have to know what that is, or at least have a very good idea of what that is, or do your research to find out what that is. In fact, you just need to do your research, period, right? Because what you tend to find happen, and I see it a lot with Jamaican businesses, is that they post the exact same thing on every single platform. And it doesn't necessarily work. And somebody said it earlier with Barita. The type of content that Barita creates is not necessarily Facebook friendly content. It's more meme based, more Barita employs a lot of gamification in their marketing. So look at games that you can play, etc. Yeah, of course, it's teaching you about money, but it's gamified, right? Probably not for Facebook audience. They probably not going to really engage with that. But JMB, on the other hand, where they have more conversational type content, where they have certain women, certain topics about family, and that's probably more Facebook speed. That the people on Facebook, it's less sexiness and more interest-based conversation over on Facebook. On Instagram, sexy all day long. Sexy. On Twitter, it's more intellectual. At least they like to think they are. And on LinkedIn, it's more, oh, I'm such a fabulous person, aren't I? Yes, that's my perception of LinkedIn. But LinkedIn is more network based, right? So you have to understand the customers, how they use the different platforms, where they are most likely to, which platform they're most likely to which platform is the best platform for you to distribute or publish your content, where they're most likely to receive the type of content that you're going to be posting, and or how can I differentiate my content on the different platforms so I'm connecting with all my segments, right? But you also need to understand the channels themselves. Don't just go post things. You have to understand the channels themselves. What are the features of the channels, how the channels operate, and how can I leverage these features to reach my audience, build my audience segment, connect with my audience, build my community, and traffic them to my main platform or convert them, right? Cost structures. What are we talking about when we're talking about cost structures? We're talking about not just the cost of your product or services, but the cost to run your business. Because when you're pricing your goods and services, all of that is included. How much light, how much electricity take for make a document, right? You're gonna need internet, you're gonna need electricity, you're gonna need a laptop, you're gonna need a keyboard, you're gonna need a camera, right? How many different, what are the equipment you're going to need to run your business? What are the software you're going to need to run your business? What are the utilities you're going to need to run your business? You're going to need paper and pen and stamp and scissors. All of those form part of your cost structure. You have to understand how you're spending money in the business, and that should form a part of how you price your product and service. And the last one is revenue streams. In 2022, there are so many ways you can make money. It's unbelievable. You can make money in so many ways. And I'll use myself as an example. I started out with Digital Jamaica, just talking about digital stuff because that's something I was interested in. I didn't really see anybody else talking about it. I was able to build a community from that, and from that I was able to leverage that community to get sponsorship for different things, to gain opportunities for speaking engagement, paid speaking engagements, and to teach. And here I am teaching you guys. And now I'm a heart instructor. And all of that came from me going into the digital space, creating a digital presence, and creating opportunities to generate revenue. This is what I do full time. Opportunities to generate revenue. I have worked with UE, I've worked with NCU, I've worked with so many different organizations to develop programs for them, right? That's not something I intended to do when I started out, but the more presence I built up in the digital space is the more revenue, the more opportunities I had to create different revenue streams. And I have not even tapped into the full potential of that yet because I'm kind of lazy and it's a lot of work and ain't nobody got time for that. I'm just kidding. Well, not really. But that's not the main reason. The main reason is that sometimes the Jamaican market is not necessarily primed for a certain kind of thing, and I've noticed that. But still, I've not tapped into the full potential of all this. You have, what's her name? There's a lady on Instagram, I forgot her name. I think she's a marketing person. And when I tell you that lady epitomizes what it means to use digital to create opportunities for revenue. She has books, she has t-shirts, she has kits. The lady has everything. I don't remember what her name is. I'm sure you guys can help me with the name. What's her name? You guys know who I'm talking? It's Kendall Jenner. When I say Kylie Jenner, all of them look so. I don't know. Them sound look alike to me. What's the name of that lady, guys, on Instagram? You guys know her. She someone on marketing. You guys know who I'm talking? She's not Jamaican. She's an American lady. I don't know if she has Jamaican roots. I don't think so, but she's American. Is it Grace? It's not Grace. Jackson Johnson. Something of the sort. Well, look, a black lady with curly hair. She has the color. She has a very colorful brand thing, and she has books. She has actual books. She has authored books. Anna Christie Jackson. No, I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna put it in the group chat later on. Yes, I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna put it in the group chat later on. All right, guys, let's quickly move on. Let's talk about the basic B's and C's because this is very important. I'm sure you guys have heard of the B's and C's before. You're probably wondering what, and it seems very straightforward, but there is a reason why we have these basic business models, as I call them, have been developed. So what these basic business models do is they identify the development, production, and even the delivery process involved in getting a product or service to market. Because involved in this is one, identifying the product or the service, how the product and service is made, and how you're going to get that product or service to the customer. So you have to kind of know these things. So you have to understand who the customer is, who you're selling to, and where you're going to be selling to them. So let's look at the first B. B2B. I'm sure you've heard B2B before. B2B is, these are very straightforward too, guys. It's the selling, B2B, also called business to business. It's a model that involves the selling of products and services from one company to another. So we can think of a manufacturer who manufactures, let's say you're a farmer, you have a farming business, and you want farming equipment. You're going to buy from the company that makes farming equipment, right? Like PIL, P-I-H-L, I think that's what the name is. They're pretty popular, what do you call that, machinery? What do you call people who make machines? Anyways, manufacturer, right? And so you buy your equipment from them, right? Dell is a company. They make computers. They sell to other companies. So you could say Dell is a B2B company, right? Or if you look at Samsung or Samsung is a B2B company in some instances. Dell also, because sometimes what you realize is that these companies, they don't necessarily fall in one category only. They may fall in different category depending on the products and the services that they're selling. So when Dell sells a computer on the market, they sell a computer on the market to me. IBM sells stuff to customers, but IBM is really a business to business company, right? Similarly with Samsung, Samsung sells phones to us, so that's a B2C, a business to customer. But Samsung also sells phone parts to Apple. So in that way, they're a B2B company, right? And so that's what it is. When you have a company and you're making products and services for other companies or primarily for other companies, you may have offering that you're selling to the general public, right? The other B is B2C or business to consumer. Now, this model involves selling of products and services from a company to a customer. So again, Apple selling you an iPhone, right? Or let's look at some local B2C companies in Jamaica. Food companies. Most food companies are business to consumer, right? They make the food, they sell you the food. But Best Dress chicken or a CB chicken, they're a business to business. Do they sell to customers? Yes, through supermarkets. But really, is the supermarket them selling the stuff? They sell the stuff to the supermarket sell it to you, right? So that's what we mean by business consumers. No, that may not be the case in some instances. I think in some cases they just put their product in the supermarket and then the product sell it to you and then the supermarket get a cut, whichever way, still business to consumer, right? And now the C's, C to C. What is C to C? C to C stands for customer to customer. And what this model involves is the selling of products and services from one customer to another customer. And let's think of some C to C companies. Amazon. If you are a seller on Amazon, you're putting your products on Amazon and you're selling it directly to another customer on Amazon. So Amazon is just a platform, right? Amazon is just a platform. And that's what, let's think of some other C2C. My brain just blank. But pretty much is when you as the customer is putting up something to another customer. You're not necessarily a brand or a business necessarily, but you have some item that you want to sell that you're selling it to another customer. That's what C2C is. What I want you guys to do is pay attention to the B's and C's, because when we go to types of businesses, we're going to try to fit them into the B2B, B2C models, right? And see where they fall in that model. Sorry, when we talk about type of business structure. Okay. The customer to customer model, this is supposed to be customer to business. The customer to business model is a type of commerce where a consumer or end user provides a product or service to a company. So think of affiliate marketing or even influencer marketing. What is the product or service, you may ask? Well, it's you. It's their audience. That's what they're selling. That's what they leverage, right? So if you send me your product, I do a review, you pay me to do the review. You as a brand pay me to do a review of your product or your service so that my audience can see it and influence my audience to buy from you. Or it is that you probably didn't even send it to me. I made a review, put my review out, you like my review, and you pay me after the fact for review. That does happen, right? So in the C2B model is where a consumer, and sorry, before we go there, the affiliate marketing is the same thing. And we talked about affiliate marketing, yes, I keep saying yes, Monday, when we look at Jessica in the kitchen, right? So what it is that she says she uses a particular type of cookware in her baking or whatever, yeah? Putting that cookware, or say, hey guys, I use Cuisinart brand of cookware, right? And it's the best type of cookware for whatever reason. Now, she didn't make it. She's not even the seller of it. But what will happen is if she puts it in her Amazon storefront and somebody goes, or they use her special link and somebody goes and buys it, the company makes money and she gets a cut of the money. So in that way, she's offering that service to a company. Drop shipping is also another, customer to customer as well as customer to business model. All right, so there are more, guys. There are more, because there is B2G, business to government. There's government to consumer. There's government to government. There are several different types of business model, but these are the most popular ones and the most, not popular models. They're the most known or most common type of business models, especially in the online space. Right? And we're going to talk about that. So let's talk about, let me see, do you guys have any questions about what I just said? eBay, yes, Fiverr is a C2C. eBay is a C2C. You guys are smart. Yes. It's not Tabitha. When I find her name, I'm going to let you know. I asked a question earlier. What was the question you asked earlier? Did you put it in the... Will your customer relationship development change as time progresses, especially as your customer relationship always changes? It's very fluid. Very, very fluid. It will always change. There are some base things that you offer your customer and that you can do. But as, again, the more digitally savvy consumer gets, the more information that is accessible to the consumer. And again, with loyalty being very low these days because more options, the relationship will change and you're going to have to manage that change. Okay, Giovanni? How do digital marketers navigate cancel culture? That's a discussion for the chat, the group chat. Would dropshipping content C2C? Yes, it would. Would Etsy be considered B2C or B or C2C? It can be either or, because I can have a business or brand on Etsy and I'm selling to customer, or I could just be like a crafts person where I don't necessarily have a business necessarily, and I make crafts and I sell it to you. So yeah, in that way, it can be either or. I don't know what you mean. Are referrals a C2B or a C2C? What do you mean by? Well, real estate, depending on what you mean, because most in terms of the law in Jamaica, you can't just you can just agree say you're gonna sell me your house and me selling my house and me give you the money and you give me the house and that's it. It has to go through proper channels, and usually that means probably going to an attorney or going through a realtor, or so we have real estate brokers in Jamaica. It goes through a broker, and in that way it can be it's business to customer. Nicholas, you have to later on when you can jump on and we can talk about what you mean by referrals. All right, guys, let's look at some digital business models, or as I would prefer, digital business structure, so as not to confuse you on what we did before. And one of the ones we want to talk about is, well, what do we mean by digital business structure? We're talking about how you operate a business in the digital space, and it may look very different from how businesses operate traditionally, because now you have more flexibility. You can be a lot more agile, and because you can be a lot more flexible and agile because of technology and the digital tools and platforms, you can create a better customer experience or an enhanced customer experience that can drive sales. And that's why some online businesses are so competitive with established business. They're more flexible, they're more agile. Even if you are already an established business, you can become more flexible and agile in the digital space, right? So let's look at one model, the free model. And what do we mean by the free model? Now, this is where a company offers a service for free to an end user in exchange for user information data that is then sold to advertisers. Who can give me an example of a free model, or a business, a digital business or an online business that uses this free model? Who can give me? Twitter and Instagram. Thank you. Yes. Digicel? Digicel? Sandra? No. You have to pay for digital services. Yes, so a lot of social media platforms use these free model, but as the famous saying goes, if it is free, it means you are the product, right? So that is what happens. In exchange for you using their platform, which means that they're mining your data, they're getting your data, they then use that data or leverage that data to attract advertisers who then pay for access to that data, right? Let's look at another model. The e-commerce, mobile commerce models. Both models involve the buying and selling of goods and services, whether via a web-based browser or an application on a mobile or smart device, right? Now, when we say mobile, guys, we don't just mean a phone. It can be a tablet, it can be a watch, any device, handheld kind of smart device, even over Alexa, what do you call those? The in-home the devices that you can use to control your home, like Alexa, or what is the one from Amazon? You have the Google one and you have the Amazon one, okay? Right. So what this model does is, and you can tell me if what comes to mind when you think of mobile or e-commerce models. What it is buying and selling of goods and services over the internet, digital transactions or online commerce. That's what e-commerce or mobile commerce means. Mobile commerce is transactionary activities that takes place over mobile or smart device, or e-commerce is when that same transactions take place over the internet, right? And we can think of several e-commerce platforms like Amazon, or let's think of some local ones. So you have Carib Shopper, you have what's that one? You have Cool Market, you have JA Deals, you have JA Cars, you have so many kind of online e-commerce kind of space. And shopping JA and JA Deals can also be under the C2C business model, consumer to consumer, because I said it's not necessarily a business or a brand who are on these e-commerce spaces. It can just be a regular customer. I have a TV that I want to sell because I want to make a quick money, or may I move or something. I can just put it on one of these sites and you buy it. That's a example of C2C, right? Let's look at another one. Let's look at the subscription model. This model is where products and services are placed behind what we call a paywall and can only be accessed when a user make periodic payments to the seller. Can any of you, is there an error with the C to B info? I don't know what you're asking, Skeeter. Was there an error with it? Guys, can you think of Netflix? Netflix is the major one, right? Patreon is a third-party platform that allows you to have subscribers, but the direct subscription model is like Adobe, Gleaner Premium, Hulu, Spotify, Netflix, etc. You guys are on fire. Okay, great. Moving on. Next model. The marketplace model or peer-to-peer model is where both sellers and buyers use a third-party platform to sell or trade goods and services. We're going right back to, let's go back, we're going right back to Amazon and all eBay and all these other platforms, because while these are also e-commerce platforms, and I forgot to say this, you can create your own e-commerce platform through WooCommerce. You can use tools like WooCommerce or BigCommerce or Magento or one of these tools or applications to create your own e-commerce store on your website, right? Or you can use the marketplace model and use a third party's e-commerce platform like Shopify or Etsy to sell your products, right? So they overlap in many ways. Facebook Marketplace, Instagram Marketplace. Yeah. Okay? The share model. This model allows a customer to pay to access a product or service or offering for a definite period without a transfer of ownership. What comes to mind? You can pay to access a product or services. You don't own, you're not gonna own it, but you can pay to access it for a limited period of time. Yes, rental cars. You think of rental cars, right? Canva Pro Law is a subscription-based model. And they're also a freemium model. We're going to talk about that later. Airbnb, yes. If you guys, Airbnb is kind of the modern day version of a timeshare, isn't it? When back in the days when you had timeshare where multiple people kind of own the same property, or you invest in this particular property and you get it for a certain time of the year and then another person can get it for the entire year. That's kind of loosely, the Airbnb model is loosely based on that, right? But that's a share model, right? You don't own the product or services or even the offer, but you can access it if you pay for it, right? All right. next model we're going to look at is the freemium model. This is where users can access a basic version or limited free version of a product or service, but to access advanced features or premium features, you have to pay. What comes to mind? Candy Crush. Asha says Candy Crush. Canva, yes. Every app in the App Store. Google Photos? Google Photos? I'm not sure what Google Photos. Somebody said nothing. There are a lot of freemium. Freemium is usually with apps, right? Or with certain web-based applications where you can access the free version, but in order to get more advanced features, you're gonna have to pay for it. A lot of apps in the App Store on your mobile and web-based apps as well, right? WeTransfer, yes, that's a good one. InShot, that's a good one. You see, you guys are thinking, I love it. Duolingo, Asana, you guys get it. You get it. Okay. The hidden revenue model. This model is where a company's revenue stream is not readily identifiable to the consumer. In that instance, the company leverages other value streams to earn. Who can think of a model like this? Where you're not sure how they earn money, but you know they earn money, but you're not sure how they earn money. YouTubers, somebody say YouTubers. Yeah, YouTubers. Facebook, Instagram, yes, it's the same as the free model. Or it overlaps with the free model where you're not exactly sure. Google is a prime example of a hidden revenue model. But you in this day and age, you kind of know what they're selling. They're selling your data. You kind of know that, right? So, but there are other ways that they can make money from you, not just through data. They make money through whether they're making money through ads or whether they're making money. There's so many ways Google makes money. It's almost, I can't even really. I'm gonna send, there's a document that I'm gonna send you that kind of outlines some of the ways Google make money, and you're gonna go, what? Yes. Okay. They also make money off products as well, selling new products and services as well, right? All right, guys. So these are some popular digital business structure or business models that can really only happen in the digital space. This really only happens online, or can really only happen online, because at the base of all of this is technology, it's digital tools and platforms, right? All right, then. So that's for business structure. Let's quickly go into now digital marketing framework. So now you understand basic business models, B2B, B2C, C2C, C2B, and you understand now the types of business models or structures that you can create in the online space, or that you can model your business off of in the online space. And it's important for you guys to first understand what business model you're using. Are you a B2B? Are you a B2C, C2C, whatever? And how your business is going to be structured online. I think a lot of people struggle with that because, again, they just think, I'm just going to go post some things online and that's it. No. You have to structure your thing, especially if you want it to, if you want longevity and you want it to be sustainable, right? There's a question. It's, yes, that was an error, Skeeter, and I think I did say that. All right, let's talk about digital marketing frameworks quickly before time run out. A digital marketing framework is a strategic document that details how a marketing plan will be executed, and it outlines the critical processes and steps to achieve marketing objectives. Now, your digital marketing framework is not your strategy. What it is it takes your strategy and says, okay, this is your strategy. How are you planning to execute this strategy or implement this strategy? So you're going to create a framework around that strategy for implementation and execution, right? All right. Let's look at, you know what hurt my board what just happened a while ago? How carefully I went through this document yesterday to make sure, say, all my things them synchronize. And this morning, PowerPoint decide say it a go flap me them way. Yeah? My hurt in ear so. But it's all right. Let's look at some popular let's look at some popular frameworks, right? Who knows the 4 P's of marketing? I'm sure you guys would have heard about the 4 P's of marketing before, right? Yes, this is traditional marketing. This is marketing 101. When you do a marketing course, they're going to talk about the 4 P's of marketing, right? So, what is the 4 P's of marketing, or what we call the marketing mix, is literally a mix of strategies that works together to ensure our product or service is viable, visible in the market space, competitively priced, and effectively promoted. So let's look at, I don't know why promotion is showing up first. You see what I mean? What I say I hurt? I so painstaking. Anyways, product is the first one, not promotion. Product can be a tangible good, such as a handmade 100% natural organic soap, or a piece of software. Think Microsoft Office, right? Or it can be intangible, and yes, software is considered tangible, or because it's code, or intangible, such as a service. Think of accounting, or an experience. Think of an African safari. All of it is come under the umbrella term of a product, right? And so, of course, you're selling something. Whereas a product or service, whether it's tangible or intangible, there has to be a good that you're a product or goods that you're selling. That's the first one. If you're not selling a product or good, what are you selling? You know. Second one is so whatever format, guys, this is gonna bug me. Give me 1 quick minute. It's gonna bug me. It's gonna bug me because really and truly it shouldn't be behaving like this, and I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. All right, guys. Let's see if this works better now. Yes, there we go. Oh, let me share about my screen with you. I'm slightly a perfectionist, and these things bug me. So let's go again. All right. So what I was saying is, whatever format a product takes, what's important is how it is packaged and presented to the buyer. Guys, one common mistakes I see a lot of us make in the digital space is how we package our products. The package don't look so wonderful. Package don't look so great, and it kind of throws off the entire presentation of the thing. So guys, a pretty packaging works all the time, and you know, people might think, oh, you know, that's a little bit frivolous, but seriously, packaging matters. How your product look, because remember, we're visual people, we have the eye, we can see. How the product look is going to determine whether how much more investigation I'm going to do, or how much more information I want to find out, or if I want to buy it or not. Believe me, it plays a major role, right? Presentation plays a major role. The next one, guys, is price. And as I was saying earlier to you, is that there are three main components to pricing. The first is the actual monetary value of the product, right? Which is determined after you take into consideration things such as your fixed costs, your markups, your discount, the cost of the ingredients to make the thing, etc. Right? So that's the first component, right? The second component is the perceived value, which determines how much time or effort the customer is willing. Did I say there were three components? That should say two main components, guys, not three. The second component is the perceived value. And that is going to determine how much time or effort the customer is willing to expend to acquire it. And I'll give you a prime example. This course. This course is free. Well, it is free to you, right? Somebody is paying for it, but it's free to you. What I've noticed, I've been teaching this course for 2 years now. And what I have noticed is a lot of persons who come to this course don't take this course, whether it's the digital marketing course or the social media course. They don't take these courses as seriously as they should. Why? It's the perception of value. Because we think it is free, we don't think it is valuable. That happens a lot. And that's the risk you take sometimes when you are marketing your product. If I say this thing is free, how do I then communicate the value of it, even though it is free to the user? Because free to the user doesn't mean it is free. So what I can say is, I could probably say something like, this multi-million-dollar program is free to you, or we're offering it to you for free because we want you to learn blah 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 blah. That's how you imbue value, because perception is a hell of a thing. If you think something look cheap, or if you think it look free, or depending on what you're offering of what the offering entails, the perception of the value of the thing will change. Right? Yes, Jawani says how you communicate the usefulness of the product. So you'll find that, and I will say, if this program was something you had to pay for, you're looking at anywhere between a $45,000 to a $55,000 program per person, right? Half the problems I'm having in terms of communication, I wouldn't have. People would listen more. People would read more. People would access the resources, the free resources more. People would show up to class, and nobody would tell me that, unfortunately, I have to go because I have another engagement, when you know you have a 3-hour session on a Monday and a Wednesday. Right? It's about the perception of value. And I see that a lot. All right? All right, guys. Let's talk about the other P, which is place, and this refers to how and where target customers can find and purchase the product. Is it in your storefront or online or both? And this is a key determinant of the customer experience. Why? Because convenience is a major selling point for digitally savvy consumers. Do you think now that the road free up and people can go a road again, it's going to change the fact that no, I still gonna order my food through Hello Foods because I ain't got time to go stand up in a KFC line? That's not gonna change that fact. Convenience is still a major selling point. It was before the pandemic and will become even more so after the pandemic, especially now that Jamaicans have become a lot more digitally savvy since COVID, right? So creating multiple touch points where consumers or customers can access your product not only enhances the customer experience, but can be a differentiating factor in a competitive market. Everybody and their mother these days sell soap, natural soaps, and beauty products. Everybody do these days. How are you standing out? How are you making yourself different? Well, if you are like a Morgan's Creek where I can buy the stuff online and get it shipped to me, no problem, then you're in the money. But I don't always have the time to go down to Earth Elements to go into the store. I don't always have the time to do that. Convenience matters, guys. Convenience sells as well. And the last one is promotion. And this primarily refers to the strategies you're going to use to become visible to an audience, to communicate brand value and influence buying decisions, right? So the key to effective promotion is having a market-ready product that is appropriately priced, properly communicated or effectively communicated, and easily accessible to the target customer. All of these things are important to your marketing strategy. But that was the old 4 P's. There's the new 7 P's of marketing. And the new 7 P's of marketing There are 3 additional steps to this marketing mix, and they're added to account for changes in business operations and consumer behavior brought on by the advancement of technology, right? And the first one is people. Guys, you may not think it, but remember back in the day where if you call a company and you want to talk to a manager, you'd have to go through 4 different people? Or again, you call a customer service line, and the person you're talking to clearly is reading from a script and don't have a clue what they're saying, and then they're giving you a blanket response to a very specific problem, and you're going, but that doesn't help me. Yes, I turned off my phone 3 times and returned it on, and I waited 10 seconds and it still not work. What now? Right? That has ever happened to you? Guys, whether traditional marketing or digital marketing, but even more so in digital marketing spaces, the people attached to your business becomes very important. And I'll give you one example. Let's go through the definition first. Whether the person is directly working with you, indirectly working with you, is working internally or externally, anybody who has the responsibility to execute any function or any element of your business operation, to include supply, marketing, sales, customer service, etc., it's important that you get the right people in those spaces. Why is it important to get the right people in those spaces? Because the wrong people can mash up your business. The wrong people can mash up your business. And I'll give an example. A couple years ago, the Alaska found itself in problems because somebody using the Alaska social media page made a comment about a particular athlete. Well, somebody asked a question, what do you call something, and the response was goldfish, and it was in response to a particular athlete. And let me tell you, the backlash was swift and strong, and Lasco spent millions of dollars trying to clean up. They fired the person, spent millions of dollars trying to keep up. Why? Because that person took their personal feelings and put it on a company's social media platform. And that's a big no-no, because there are policies, there are certain things that a company will not say publicly anyway, right? Because the company represents something to people. And so you can't seem to be involved in certain pettiness or in certain subculture, right? Because it may be problematic, and that's what happened. And in this way, this is where your customer service, especially in the online space, your sales and customer service team is important, because if they're not responsive online, you're going to lose business. If when I DM you something and you don't respond to me within a reasonable amount of time, you have a shoes, I'm say, I'm like them, I say, what size you have left in this and what color, and you don't respond in a particular amount of time, or you trace people in the comments, or you have people who manage your social media platform tracing people in the comments, that's a no-no. So the people who are front-facing, who represent your business, even who your suppliers are important. Say you make sandals, your Bridget say you make sandals. If your supplier can't supply you on time and you can't fulfill a customer order on time, you're in problems, in a man, right? So all the people connected to your business is important, especially online, because if you tell a customer that it's going to take you 2 weeks to ship something from your Amazon store to them and then get in 2 weeks, China, so Amazon are going to send them back their money and you just get joke and them still get the product. Okay. All right. Because Amazon don't play. All right, guys. The next one is, having the right people who are knowledgeable about the businesses, products and services, properly trained, and who can effectively execute tasks is a key success. Is a key success and another differentiating factor. And it's something as simple as you have somebody who represents a brand ambassador who represents your brand, and that brand ambassador shows up online in some very compromising way or some very interesting way. You're going, oh, so Barita, is this you? Is this your friend? Okay. People are listen, as I said to you guys before, people are very, 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 very invested in bringing down a company online, and they will find any avenues to be able to do that. So you have to make sure that you're well represented, properly represented, and the people who represent you are acting like them have sense. Yes? Yes. All right then. So let's move on. The other new P is process. So process identifies the internal and external processes involved in the development and delivery of your product or service to the customer. Guys, before you go online and tell people them nothing, make sure you have a process. Make sure you know how your stuff is going to be developed and how you're going to deliver it to the person. Because if me buy some from you, you're going to tell me, say, me have to meet you somewhere for collect it. Yeah, but nowhere by your page it never say. Me have to go meet you nowhere for collect it. It says ship worldwide. So if it's ship worldwide, why me have to come meet you somewhere for collect it? No, ma'am, give up my money. We're not doing that. Right? So you have to make sure that you have an established process and that your team knows the process. Or if you are your team, like, oh, I am my own team, make sure you understand the process and you can properly articulate that process to the consumer. Yes? Somebody says ship globally, not locally. Well, local involved in a global. Okay, all right. The process should include considerations such as the customer expectations. Some of us don't pay attention or understand fully what our customers are expecting of us, and then we do foolishness and get ourselves in problems, right? And the desired experience. What kind of experience do you want a customer who's engaging with you on your website, on your mobile app, on your socials? What kind of experience do you want them to have? Another consideration that a lot of people don't take into account is how are you going to re-engage them? You don't just want one-off buyers. So how are you going to re-engage them after they've bought so you can retain them as customers? Because as I keep saying, it is cheaper to retain than to acquire. Okay? And the last new P is physical evidence. What does this mean? The perception of your business or brand, the legitimacy and sophistication, the perception of the legitimacy and sophistication of your brand based on how your brand shows up, especially in digital space. You don't have a website, you don't have social media, or if you have a website in the update in 4 years, the number them now work, the email address now work, the social media in an update in a long time, or bare foolishness you post on the social media. These things delegitimizes your business. Now, why is it important for you to have physical evidence that your business is legit and it is sophisticated? Because there's a lot of scams online. There's a lot of people scamming people online. But there are certain components that if you have them and they're present and they're visible, it can legitimize your business. And again, this is around customer expectation. So it's about branding. Is your branding consistent across all platforms? Because you do have fake digits. There's the other day you had a fake digital site, social media platform that was scamming people. So is the branding consistent? Do you have a robust digital presence where you're constantly communicating and talking to people online and you're responding to people online, right? How does your brand present itself? How does your brand interact with people in the digital space? All of these things legitimizes as well as sophisticates your business. And what that does is, one, it makes people know that, yeah, this is the real deal. This is the real Adobe. It's not a scam. And two, that your business is sophisticated because you're using sophisticated or modern communication methods, platforms, etc., to interact with them as consumers. All right, so that was the marketing mix model. Framework. We're going to look at two others and then we're going to end. So the second one is the race model. Now, this was developed by Dr. Chaffee for Smart Insight. And what the race model is supposedly does, according to Dr. Chaffee, is that it helps marketers and business owners plan and manage their digital marketing strategy in a more structured way, right? How does it do that? Guys, when we're going through this, I want you guys to listen to what I'm saying. And in the end, I'm going to ask you, what are the similarities that you're seeing? What is the common thread that you're seeing that runs throughout all these marketing frameworks or marketing strategy frameworks, right? I want you to pay attention because I want you to tell me if you pick it up. All right, so the R in RACE stands for reach, and it's building awareness around your brand, products, and services, both online and offline, to drive traffic to your main sites or social media pages. Reach, so when you, over time, you can start, say for instance, you start with social media. And once you've conquered one social media platform or become a dominant presence or build out your presence in one social media platform, you can go on another social media platform. And then you can move from social media to your website, although I think it should be the other way around, but this is how we commonly do it in Jamaica. You move from your social media to your website or to your email or to an app. So over time, you're creating multiple touch points to expand your reach using owned, paid, and earned media. And we're going to talk about that in next class, right? So you can maximize your reach and extend your digital presence, right? Secondly, the A in RACE stands for act. A part of the word interact. They were trying to create a usable acronym, guys. So what do they mean by interact? They mean lead generation through interactions and engagement to influence the audience to take a desired action. Now think about this in the context of your strategy, and that's what I want you to do. I want you to think about this in the context of your digital marketing strategy, right? When you have put your strategy together, one of the things you're going to have to figure out is, okay, so I'm going to be creating content and I'm going to be putting the content on my social media platform, but how can I then use that content to generate leads, right? And for me to attract people who will then eventually buy. And that is where the interaction is important. And this is where the framework comes in, because what the framework does is it helps you figure out, how am I going to interact and engage when I implement my content marketing strategy? How am I going to interact and engage with my audience? And how can I streamline that interaction and engagement to ensure that I'm pushing them towards sale? How can I do that, right? The C in RACE stands for convert. It encompasses all the actions taken to move your audience from awareness to the ultimate step, which is the sale. Whether, again, it's online or offline or a mixture of both. What are the steps? What are the tactics? Because your strategy is different from the tactics. Your strategy is more of a broad plan, and the tactics now are the specific actions that are activities you're going to implement, execute on, to make sure that at all times you're conditioning your audience and you're driving them towards that ultimate step, which is sale. And that's what we mean by conversion, because rice don't sound as good as race. Okay. Somebody says, why not rice instead of race? All right. And the E stands for engage. And in some instances, I will say re-engage, because it involves customer retention activities to develop long-term relationships. We talked about customer relationships before. To develop long-term relationships with first-time buyers, and in that way you can engender trust and loyalty. You don't just want persons to buy from you one time. You want repeat sale, right? And so it's not just about after somebody buys from you, what are the activities you need to do to get them to buy from you again? Are you just gonna say, okay, thanks, bye? No, you probably get them email. You probably ask them, did you like the product? ask them for feedback about the product, give your thoughts on the product, how did you use the product, or if they post, you can say, this is one activity that I see a lot of brands do in the social media space. They have a brand hashtag, Target does it, hashtag Target. And what will happen is if you buy something from Target and you put hashtag Target in your caption on social media, this is what we call user generated content. Target then takes that content, reposts it to their main social media platform that has millions of followers. And of course, you want that. That's kind of what you want, because one, it feels now like, one, you're being seen by the brand. Two, you're a part of the brand's larger community, and is a way of, is a fellowship. You're fellowshipping with other Target consumers, customers, fans, community base as well. So that's a part of the re-engagement strategy that you see big brands use on social media. Another big brand that use that is GoPro. GoPro predominantly uses user generated content, because really they don't need to make their own content, right? But what they do is they give you access to their platform, or they put you on their platform so you're more visible. And a lot of persons who use GoPro want to become more visible because they're athletes or creators or adventurers or whatever. And so they want an audience too. So that's the exchange, right? So that's a part of the re-engagement tactics. So that was the race model, guys. So race was reach, act, convert, and engage, right? So let's look at the IDA model, which I'm sure most of you would be familiar with the IDA model, because it's the most popular, most well-known, often cited model or sales funnel. Now, guys, when we talk about marketing strategies or frameworks, we are really talking about sales funnels. It's just another way of saying sales funnels, right? Or funnel. Marketing funnels. And what the marketing funnels do, and I want you guys again to pay attention to everything you're seeing on the screen, what I'm saying, and the explanations for these things, because at the end, I want to see if you guys are picking up certain things. So, arguably, the best known, IDA is a linear funnel that is meant to identify the different stages an individual goes through during the buying process. The first stage, according to IDA, is attention. So at this stage, the objective is to become visible, which involves activities to grab the attention of as many people as possible, making them aware of the brand and product. And in this stage, it's more of an outbound kind of activity, because again, as many people as possible, you want to become aware of your product or your service or your brand, right? The second stage is interest. So, of the larger group whose attention you grabbed, a smaller subset of that group will be interested in your product. We call those suspects, right? Sometimes it is that they were already primed to be interested, maybe because they were already looking for something like this, or they're already thinking about it, or interest developed over a certain period of time, or at some point they became interested, right? That's the second stage. So the first stage is they became aware, you got their attention, they became aware. The second stage is they became interested. And the third stage is the desire stage. Now, with the right kind of engagement and positioning, a suspect's interest at whatever point that developed can then be further developed into a want or a desire. So it moved from them being interested in this thing to them wanting the thing, right? So at this point, they're no longer a suspect, but they become a prospect. You would hear people say they become warm. There are no warm leads, right? Another thing that you guys need to understand is that when we're talking about marketing frameworks, we're talking about funnels, sales funnels, and lead generation. That's the main purpose of these marketing funnels, and they help you to structure the implementation of your strategy, right? So you're turning somebody with just an interest into somebody who's a prospect. And a prospect is somebody who's further along that lead generation stage, right? So it went from cold, where they didn't know about you, to lukewarm, where they know about you, that look interesting, to now warm because now they want the thing. And then when it becomes hot, is the action stage. Now they're hot, they're on fire, right? Because at this point, again, with the right prompting at the right time, the prospect will take conscious steps to acquire the product or service. And at that point, they become a customer, right? So it moved from cold to hot. That's the different stages that it goes through. Now, this is a very old model, a very old model. This predates digital. This was a model that newspaper salesmen use, or magazine salesmen, or people who used to sell like appliances, door-to-door salesmen, you call them, used to use to get people to buy. It's a controversial model because modern marketers don't think that this model works anymore because digital. And because you now have access to more information online, you're more digital or technologically savvy, your decision-making process is a lot different. In fact, that's been the case for a long time. Nobody thinks linear. It's not that, oh, attention, interest, desire, action. It rarely ever goes step by step like that. Sometimes you can become interested in a product years after you know the product exists because it was just not relevant to you at the time, right? And even after you become interested in the product, you may not want the product or can even afford the product at the time that you become interested in. You may have to save for it. And then nowadays, because there's options, you want to go look on the price comparison or who give more features for the money, etc., etc. And sometimes you reach a stage where you want it, and then that's where it stops. Sometimes they don't go right through the funnel because it stops at the desired stage because I can't afford it. I can't afford it, or maybe it's not the right time for me to get it now, or something, right? So people don't think linear. People are not linear thinkers, especially when it comes to this, right? Exactly. Somebody says sometimes a person goes straight to action. Yeah, that happens. That happens, right? So this is one of the problems with the AIDA model, right? Is that it will make you think that this is set in stone, that this is exactly how people think. No, people are highly emotional. No matter how savvy they get, they're highly emotional. Now that you mix that emotion with options, with information, oh Lord, it's harder now to convert. It's harder now to convert. So don't think that, oh yeah, this is the exact step it's going to take. They take these steps, but at different points, at different time. Sometimes them go, they say come back, they say come back, they say go around. It's a confusing circuit. But what you have to do if you're using the AIDA model is, once you understand your customer and kind of understand how your customer moves in the digital space, it's kind of easier for you to apply this model. These models are not standalone. These models are meant to be flexible and adaptable to your strategy. So that's how I want you to think about it, okay? And the last one is the REEN model. And this was developed by Xavier Blanc, Honors. Guys, Honors is a Latin word that we use in law, that's my background, to mean and others, okay? So developed by Xavier Blanc and others, the REEN model is a framework for goal setting, mapping and analyzing marketing activities, and tracking conversion efforts. All that means is that you are going to apply this model to your strategies so you can properly set goals, so you can figure out what your marketing tactics and activities are going to be, and so you can track to see if they are, when you implement them, if they're going the way you wanted them to go, and if they're turning into conversion, which is what your marketing strategy is supposed to do, eventually get to conversion, right? That's all that means. Again, the first part of this is reach, and it's a set of and I pull this right from the horse's mouth for both the race model and the REEN model, right? So it's a set of activities needed to raise a prospect's attention, for your brand, product, or services. E stands for engage. The gradual, typically multi-channel, often recursive set of, recursive meaning recurrent, set of activities needed to engage the prospects you just won, right? A is for activate. And these are the activities needed for your prospects to eventually take actions you want them to take. And when we're talking about activation, it's not a term that you hear often in local marketing, but activation is a strategy. And some activation activities could be, not activation activity. Some activation strategies could be webinars. You have a new course that you want to release, but you want to do a webinar first so people can kind of get an understanding of what this course is going to be about so they can buy into it. Even companies who sell products like Adobe, Google, etc., they always have these massive conferences. Look at when a phone company is launching a new phone, right? They have marketing activations, which is conferences and big promotional excitement and premieres and all of that. These are activation strategies, right? And again, you're trying to get your prospect to take the action, which is to buy them $5,000 phone when your $200 phone works just fine, right? Right. Well, you can use Spaces and Instagram Live as part of your activation strategy. These are just the platforms that you're going to use as a part of your activation strategy. Yes, I like the way you're thinking. Nurture, that's the last one. And these are the activities needed to nurture the customer relationship you just managed to create. Now, guys, there are two things that were common threads right throughout these marketing frameworks, right? What are the two things that you saw repeating over and over in these marketing frameworks? Which one of you were paying attention like that? That could be, Giovanni asks, is a good re-engagement tactic to give existing customers benefits. Yes, reward points. We talked about gamification Monday, reward points, stuff like that. Maybe invite them to become a subscriber to your email where they get discounts, blah, blah, blah. That's a good re-engagement strategy. You could say KFC. Look at KFC. KFC Jamaica, now you can now order through WhatsApp. When you order through WhatsApp, if I refer you to the WhatsApp ordering service, I don't know what they call it, you get a free fries. You get a free large family fries, I think, when you make your first order, right? That is going to make me want to pass down because I get free fries the next time I make an order because I pass down to you and you're going to get a free fries and so on and so forth. It's a small benefit, but hey, fries are fries, right? Daniel says, what are your thoughts on cheeky marketing or slightly offensive but sarcastic content being portrayed by a business in order to gain attention? Daniel, you were not here on Monday because we talked about this. We talked about Wendy's being the provocative marketing tactic is something that it can work, but you have to understand your audience. You have to understand your audience because if you try it with an audience that won't get it, it's going to flop. Okay, so you guys says brand consistency, client loyalty, customer retention, getting more information from prospective clients, awareness, yes, reach, awareness. Every one of them is talking about reach and awareness. That's what attention is, right? The promotion in the 4 Ps, the marketing mix, that's what all this is. All of them talk about your ability to reach, engage, and convert the audience, right? Yes, glad you guys are paying attention. Yes, we know Andre cooks. He's a chef. All right, guys. What is the other thing that you noticed about the models, especially the IDA model, the race model, the Reese model, and the REAN model? What is the one thing? How all of them have a funnel shape. Thank you, Nicholas, because the main aim of all of these marketing frameworks or funnels, if you want to call them sales funnels, is to structure your strategy in such a way that at each stage you are pushing your audience further along to get them to the point of sale. That's why it's called a sales funnel. It is shaped like a funnel. So at the top, you'll notice that all of them at the top have the probably a more outbound kind of tactic or strategy where as many people as you can get to the top of your funnel as possible, right? Because the funnel is wider at the top. So as many people as you can push in the funnel. Because eventually, not everybody who drop in your funnel at the top will make it down to the bottom, which is why it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So not everybody who became aware of your product will become interested. Not everybody who's interested will take an action. And not everybody who will want your thing. And not everybody who wants your thing will buy it. So the audience, the size becomes smaller. So you can start out with 500 people becoming aware. And from that 500 people, you're probably going to get 50 sales or even 10 sales. Right? So that's why it's funnel shaped. Right. So guys, let's put on our thinking hats now, and we're going right into our tutorial session. Let's put on our thinking hats now, guys. Why? Okay, let's look at what are the platforms that you think will sit on the top of a funnel in the reach, awareness, attention part of the funnel. What platforms do you think sit in that area of the funnel? Social media. Yes, social media. Somebody said TV ads. Yeah, ads. But I'm talking digital platforms. Sorry. Social media will sit at the top of that funnel. Search engines will sit at the top of that funnel. Your website can sit at the top of that funnel. But really, mainly, search engines and social media. And let me tell you why your website may not be at that top necessarily, maybe in the engagement, in that engagement section, is because there are certain things you cannot do on social media. As many options as you have to market yourself on social media, it is still supposed to be a social communication platform. So the hard sell doesn't really work on social media, does it? And so you have to change your tactic on social media from the hard selling that you can do in a TV ad or a radio ad. You can't really get away with that on social media, right? And so you have to do the soft sell, which is why content marketing is so big on social media, right? And where influencer marketing comes in and the affiliate marketing and all of that comes in, because it's a less direct buy my stuff approach, right? It's now more of let's talk. What are you interested in? Oh, really? I'm interested in the same thing. Oh my God. It's more of a they're courting you at that point. You know, you just met. Hey, you're cute. I like you, right? I like you too. Let's talk. Right? Social media is run about that stage. You just meet somebody, you think they're cute, they think you cute too. You guys are chit-chatting, getting to know each other a little bit more. Think of it like a dating site. A Bumble or Tinder. You meet somebody on a slide, on a DMs and Tinder, Bumble, have a look at chat. And then when you guys think, me give my number. Why you call me? You give them your number, right? And you move from Bumble or Tinder to WhatsApp. Now it's a more direct communication. Now they have your number. You've exchanged personal information. They can reach you more directly. They don't have to go through the app. That's kind of where your website, so WhatsApp in this instance would be like your website, right? So now on WhatsApp, you're not limited to where you can post certain things in the Tinder chat or whatever. No, you can post multimedia messages. You can send photo. You can send a video, and you can video chat, right? And you can talk about some more sexy things, right? Right? It's the same thing with your website. Now, him can really shoot him shot on a WhatsApp, right? Show his personality. You feel like you're getting to know the actual person, not just a profile on a dating site. That's what your website does for you. You can more directly engage your audience, sell to them directly, shoot your shot. Pretty much. Hard sell, the hard sell on your website. And then it moves from that to maybe a phone call. Like, hey, how you doing? Because I don't know about you, but I don't want nobody WhatsApp me to death or WhatsApp call me to death. That's annoying. Okay? But once they take up the phone and they call you, oh my God. Brownie points. Because they might use them actual credit card, right? More information, more data, right? Literally speaking. So now them have your personal information. Them can email you. That's what the email subscription on the website is for. They can email you, right? More direct conversation on them can hear your voice. Yes? Yeah? And all these steps are doing is ingratiating themselves more and more. You get to like them more and more. That's what your website does. And then it moves from your website to email. And email is one of the biggest conversion tools, right? Because of the direct form of engagement, right? It's less rushed, it's less fast content or short content, more personalized, more intimate, if you will. And people like that. Less distractions. Get you off Tinder real quick, bring you over to the website, bring it to email real quick. Because I don't know why you're still up on Tinder, look at other profile. Right? Less distraction, less competition. I got you in my email. Now, no competition in my email. It's just me and you, baby. Right? That's kind of how it works. That's kind of how the sales, guys, this is the best analogy I can think of to explain this to you. Right? So it's almost like a mating dance between you and this company or this brand. That's how they get you all the time. Right? And it's this kind of same process with the funnel. You're trying to get them out of just noticing you, just getting to, coming across your profile. You're looking cute. I like you. I may be interested. I'm not sure. I'm flirting. Until I give you my information or until I go to your website where I can get to know you better. Or I can do my research about you. I can find out more about your product and service to see if it fit what it is that I'm looking for, right? And then when I go, yeah, this is cute. You can call me. I give you my email. And we can start having conversations over the email or over the phone, right? Right? And so there I can sell you. You can ask me on a date. Score. Right? I've converted. No, it's date time. And while you're on that date, your best behavior, your best foot forward. You may get further than that. I'll leave it there. Score. All right, score. So that's kind of how these marketing frameworks and funnels are set up, right? Yeah, look and smell nice and come out strong. Yeah, man. Catch you. Okay, long time. All right. So guys, that's what these marketing frameworks are intended to do. Right? So guys, I wanted to go into digital marketing strategy element, but I'm going to do that in class on Monday because that's a lot for us to actually go through. So I'm going to do that in class on Monday because I want it to be fresh in your minds as well for Monday. Because on Monday, we start the assignment. And I want to look at that assignment right now. But guys, if you give me a minute, let me get some water because I have the hiccups. Okay? Let's look at the assignment. Guys, now let me tell you why your assignment is like this. Thank you, Sandra. Let me tell you why the assignment is like this. Because if you are sitting the final heart assessment, there's two parts to the final assessment. There is the multiple choice. You get 40 multiple choice. It represents 40% of your final grade. And then you get a practical, which represents 60% of your final grade. So your assignment is based off of the practical that you're going to be getting, right? So I created a scenario or a case study. And in this case study, you are the marketer, you're the digital marketer. And so the Lignum Vitis Women's Club came to you and they're asking you for help to do certain things. But in the case study, you have some back information that you can work with to help you, right? So this is a club that was founded in 1998 by Dr. Edna Pearl, who is the first woman CEO of a legacy company in Jamaica. Now, guys, this is fictitious or fictional. As much as it relates to anybody, it was not intended to, okay? So the club is composed of approximately 30 members currently. All are C-suite level professional women who train promising up-and-coming young women in business and leadership skills development. That's what they do. Now, membership to the club has been static for a while, and so they're exploring ways to attract more women, which is why they recently launched a new initiative called the Women in Leadership Internship Program. Both things, yes? Now, membership to the club has been static. No, I read that already. The program places mentees in organizations where they will shadow and learn from a woman mentor. The initiative is meant to attract both mentors, women leaders, and mentees, these promising young women, right? Now, as part of the drive, the club has started to explore new avenues to promote their work, increase awareness of the club's programs, and to attract sponsorship as well as recruit members, right? So this drive is doing a lot of heavy lifting. They have a limited presence on social media, and the website has not been updated in over a year. However, they do have an active email newsletter that is distributed weekly, but the data shows that the emails does not have a high open rate. And when we talk about email marketing, you're going to understand what that means. They have come to you because they want you to help them develop a comprehensive digital strategy. And these are the objectives. They want to reestablish and build a strong online presence. They want to build awareness of the club. They want to engage mentees. They want to recruit new members, attract sponsorship, and improve their email campaigns. Your plan must include outlining their business goals and aligning that to the digital objectives. You are to identify primary and secondary target audience. You are to outline or identify what should be their main and supporting digital channels. You should develop a content plan for each of those channels and a schedule for each of those channels. You are to put together an advertising and promotions plan, and you are to identify the KPIs and metrics you're going to use to track all of that. Now, it may sound like a lot, but these are outlines that I'm asking you to do. I'm not asking you to create a full plan. I want you to outline the different aspects of the plan. Now, I am not the template. There's going to be a template that you're going to use, and what I'm asking you to do is each week I'm asking you to work on a different component of the plan. And by work on, I mean you need to complete the section in the template relating to that component or components. I think there are 3 or 4 components, and each week or every other week, depending on the due dates, you're going to complete a different component of the plan. Again, don't stress yourself. I'm not asking for write a big elaborate strategy plan. What I'm asking you to do is outline the different aspects. So as we learn and go along and you get more information about what this different thing is, after that, then you guys are going to be working on that part of the plan in your strategy. And that's how we are going to do it. so the information is fresh in your mind while you're working on this. So more information to come before class next week. Monday, the template will be available, and it's going to be in the assignment folder, in the group folder. And the template will have more information in them. Now, what I want you guys to pay special attention to is the resources. In the resources, you have a course reading list, and I painstakingly sat down, and each week you guys will get a reading list. Now, this is the reading list for week 1. These are all the websites you can go to and look for and read up more about what you were taught in the class. Next week, I will add week 2's reading list. This is going to be in the same document, and I'll add week 2 reading list here. So each week you will get a reading list, so you can go and do your research and find out more information. The assignment is a group-based assignment. Yes, I've sat down and I made sure I sent you the links, because what I did before was I would put the links in the template, but I realized nobody was reading the links in the templates, and so the links are here, and I will not put that information in the template. So you guys can always check back in the resources file in the groups folder to see what new links have been added to the reading list. What else? And of course, you guys see that I would have added some other documents to your resource folder. So any document that I think would be helpful to you that you guys could do for research, I will add it to the folder. The course material folder includes documents that we're going to work on in some of our tutorial sessions. Like, for instance, this audience mapping worksheet. Again, if you're in my social media group, we would have already gone through this. There's a content auditing worksheet. And this is the document I was telling you about, the structure of digital marketing platforms. And I went through social media platforms, websites, apps, etc. Go through this document. It will help you with the assignment and just help you in terms of research purposes as well. And of course, I share videos and things like that in the group. So make sure you have joined the WhatsApp group.